All right, so let's kick off the conversation today. This is our first panel. They're going to explore how teams are shifting from traditional grade control and site development methods to more modern approaches. To guide today's discussion, please join me in welcoming our moderator, Shajan Joseph from GDOT.
Good morning, everyone. Just to mention, my name is Shajan Joseph. I am the Assistant State Utilities Administrator working for Georgia Department of Transportation. I am the moderator for today's discussion. Hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful facility and getting connected and reconnected through this workshop. First and foremost, I want to express my sincere appreciation to Nick Fields and Justin from Forum for this opportunity. The primary focus of this talk is bridging the gap, transitioning grade control and site development to current technology and practices. It's my great honor and privilege to introduce my panel members, having experience ranging from 8 years to 38 years and diversified knowledge in both public and private sector. So let me, the senior-most person with the highest years of experience, Jacques from C.W. Matthews Contracting Company. Jeff began his career with the Georgia DOT during his 20 years of service. Jeff worked in several positions, most importantly as the District Utility Manager in District 1 Gainesville. Jeff has been with C.W. Matthews for the last 18 years as the Utility Coordination Manager. Jeff currently serves in multiple committees, most importantly representing the Georgia Highway Contractor Association, which Governor Kemp appointed as a nominee to the Public Service Commission Committee. Jeff, it's a pleasure to have you here. Next, my colleague, Derrick Wilkerson. Derrick started his career with Georgia DOT as a project manager. During his 26 years of service, Derrick has worked in multiple positions, primarily focusing in construction as an area engineer and assistant area engineer. Currently, Derrick works as a construction liaison for District 4 and serving in several committees. His role was very instrumental for the Broad Avenue Bridge project, which won the Project of the Year award. Derrick, it's a pleasure to have you here. Next, Joseph Martin from Snell Contractor. Most everyone, if not all, know him as Joey Martin. Joey served as the utility manager for Snell, bringing more than 25 years of experience in the utility industry. He began his career with the local water authority in project management. Joey currently serves in several committees and is deeply involved in utility coordination and damage prevention. It's a great honor to be having you here for this panel discussion, Joey. Next, we have got Matt Bergen from Fayette County. Matt is the utility manager at Fayette County. He has been in the utility industry for more than 27 years. He has got experience in both public and private sector for the utility industry. Matt's calculated approach and problem-solving capabilities and innovative strategies allowed him to receive numerous awards and recognition. Matt currently served in several committees and was appointed by Governor Kemp in the GUFPA committee. Matt, it's a pleasure having you here for this panel discussion. And I have got youngest person for this panel discussion is Josh from Snell Contractor. He is working in the estimating and 3D modeling. He graduated from University of Georgia. He is the project manager in the construction division while managing Snell survey and GPS division. So welcome, Josh, for this panel discussion. I know the time is very limited. I thought about 1 hour, but now Justin say only 45 minutes, so I have to go a little bit faster. There is no other choice. And I need some time for the audience for your questions and answers. So let me start the discussion. Traditional grading often relies on manual stakes and constant rechecking. Modern methods use GPS and 3D modeling to dig it right at the first time. Transition to modern methods creates project efficiency that could see major return of investment, but challenges in full adoption, specifically for utility relocation, remain. This panel discussion will engage the stakeholders group on this important topic. The first question, progress or pain? Construction layout and surveying methods, specifically grade control and site development, like everything else, have evolved over time. Can you describe changes you have seen, and in your opinion, have they held us back as an industry or moved us forward? most experienced person, Jacques.
Now, speaking of technology, are these on or not?
Everything.
Okay, well, I can speak loud enough regardless, but I think there's absolutely been progress. We have seen labor-intensive staking transition to the utilization of GPS, which equipment operators, foremen, lead crews, everybody out on our project has rovers with GPS control that are able to ascertain real-time cut fill, station, offset. They detail all the project features, wall structures. They know exactly what and when, rather than having to wait for survey crews to come back, place slope stakes, new alignment, etc. It has pushed us light years into the future as far as being able to progress on projects.
That's a great insight, Jeff. What's your opinion, Joey?
So for the beginning of my career at a local water authority, we started out with survey stakes, very time-consuming process. By the time we got it staked, a new revision had come out on plans, and everything we had staked had been outdated. So it was very time-consuming. A lot of times there was a lot of inaccuracies to it as well. We had a lot of times where just the issues with construction, knocking over stakes, things like that. So our accuracy level was not where we wanted it to be. We moved up later, probably about 10 years into that, we started going through GPS coordinates, getting all the features of a project staked out. We could see that, whether the prime contractor was able to have that staked or not. And it really helped us have a more accurate relocation. So bringing that into our system was a night and day difference, and it was a great addition to that utility.
That's a great insight and great analysis. Okay, let me ask you the same thing to Josh. He's the young member in the panel. So what's your thoughts, Josh? Because
Yep. So absolutely helps more than it holds back for sure. It obviously does create some issues that I'm sure everybody's here has dealt with, as far as the more you move more towards a technology type of workforce, you've kind of had to diversify and hire different roles and to help support it and staff it. But it's come a long way since I took over in 2020 with our GPS and survey department. We're somewhere about, basically all of our dozers are all now GPS, all of our surveyors all have technology of some sort where we can real time take revisions, put it in the office, send it out to our surveyors, get it out to equipment. We've got the ability to upload view files, view what the operators are seeing in the equipment from the office. They're, no more driving out 2 hours to go fix something that wasn't, something that could have been done over a phone call. So it's exciting to see what else is coming up in the future.
so according to you, see, if I summarize everything, it looks like change is inevitable and growth is an optional. Let me borrow the famous quote from John Maxwell, because the change is coming and we have to accept one day or another day. We cannot be in status quo, and we cannot say we have done in the past this way, we are presently doing this way, but everybody agree with that. The change is inevitable and we have to move forward. So let me go to the next one. Overcoming the learning curve. For contractors and utility owners still using the traditional staking, what do you think is the single biggest hurdle to adopting 3D grade control for construction layout? Let me go with the Josh, because you are dealing with the modeling, drone system, GPS and everything. What is the biggest hurdle what you are facing in the learning curve? Because from transitioning from the old school system to the new school system, what's the biggest hurdle you have?
It goes back to the workforce for sure. I mean, the larger projects we get, the more projects we get, the more information that, the guys in the field, they see, hey, they're using this to leverage an issue here. Hey, Joey wants to get more utility information out in the field now. So it's the difficulty is always how you can get the information and how many people you need to be able to actually generate that information. And that's always the biggest hurdle. And then at the end of the day too, it's not a cheap thing to do. It's been a lot of investment at Snell as far as the technology that we've invested in. But the way we look at it is, and the way I look at it is the more efficient that I can make our company and the safer that I can make our company, the better we're going to be at the end of the day. Just quick example. One of our biggest struggles with our surveyors on some of these larger projects that we've had recently is you've got to get out there and get some existing information, and 3-point levels is generally the way we do that with our existing asphalt, right? So we invested in a LiDAR scanner. Don't want to say the cost, but it was extremely expensive. But ultimately what it did was it prevented our surveyors from having to go out at night and stand in the middle of the road and collect information. We can drive a 4-mile project. We did it on the east side at our east side interchange the other night, drove in about 2 hours and collected more information than you could ever imagine. So a lot of it goes to the staffing and the ultimate cost of it, but the way we look at it is it's beneficial in the long run.
Thanks, Josh. I like your detailed explanation. So what's your thoughts, Matt, regarding the overcoming the learning curve when you're thinking about the public sector?
I'm going to build off what Josh just said. For us, it's going to be budget, and budget not just being the initial upfront cost of the equipment and the software. We would definitely have to bring in people to operate that software as well.
Thanks for your analysis. So let me go to the next discussion. Leading a hand. How can Georgia DOT modernize the design to construction handoff? Are we providing contractors with high fidelity 3D models they can use in their missions, or are they still forced to rebuild the models with 2D PDFs? Derrick? How can Georgia DOT modernize the design to construction handoff? Are we providing contractors with high fidelity 3D models they can use in their missions, or are they still forced to rebuild the models from 2D PDFs?
Well, okay, I'm on. Really, that's a question that I have to pass to the contractors here. Or are we giving them enough information to build 3D models, and are they able to complete that information, complete the layout with what we're giving them? I know currently we have a project that's going to be let in March that we're going to go complete 3D modeling on that. So again, this is something that I really can't fully answer because I don't know if we're giving the contractors enough information from the past projects or not. So, please, if y'all got some clarification on that, we can maybe address that.
I would just say, as far as we're concerned, you give us enough because we're going to build our own survey package anyway, and then change and modify that as revisions or other field changes come along through the course of construction. So what we have now is adequate, but the direction we're headed will be even preferable.
That's right. So, we're bridging the gap, so to say, and so and it's just going to get better as we let more projects and we work with utility companies and we work with survey companies and whatnot as we go through the process of going from traditional plan sets to 3D models and things like that. Of course, the goal for the construction side of it is we don't want any paper plans anymore. We want all 100% digital stuff and 3D models, 4D models, and things like that. And we're working toward that. As a department, we've got rovers that our districts are buying that is going to kind of implement this way of project management. So it's just a process that we're going that it's a big undertaking. I go back to what they said about cost. Whenever we start talking about all this changes that we're doing to the layout and whatnot, we got to consider the cost of what it's going to cost for everybody, including contractors, the taxpayers, utility companies, small utility companies, large utility companies, local municipalities. So, all that's got to take in consideration whenever we're looking at that. And as long as we're giving them what they need, that's a step in the right direction.
Thanks, Derrick, for the detailed explanation. And what do you think about Joey, about the same thing? Are we giving all the comparative, what the department is providing you as a contractor, and whether it is capable to move forward, or what you're expecting from the department side?
Well, I'd actually turn this one over to Josh, as he's the one that's building it. Is there anything that you would be more desirable to have from GDOT's side?
Yeah, so it definitely has gotten a lot better in the past. I mean, there's been projects years ago where we've had missing information. We've either had to try and figure it out ourselves or go to the GDOT to try and get that missing information. So it's gotten better from just straight plan sets of the information that we need to basically kind of rebuild the project. We've had several. Personally, I've dealt with designers several times where we've had missing information where we're building it in 3D, the designers aren't, at least was what I was told, and we had more information on certain areas where there was a wall, in particular in Cobb County, where there was a wall that was supposed to be 10 foot shorter than it actually needed to be, and we only caught that because we were sitting there modeling in 3D. So we had to coordinate with the designer to make some changes to it, but moving forward, something that we've been involved with GDOT is what they were speaking about earlier is moving towards having designers design it in 3D and provide that information to be a true grade control model. And we've worked hand in hand with them on here's what we're doing, here's how it looks, here's how we like to see it. And some of the initial feedback that they've provided us is actually very in line with how we're using it and what it looks like on our end. And from what I've been told, this upcoming letting is the first letting that's going to have one of those projects that does have a designer to contractor 3D model. So we're extremely excited to kind of see how that looks and where we're going to move forward from there.
Thanks, Josh. Let me go to the next section. This is a risk assessment. For local governments, as grading becomes more automated and faster, how does the automation and increased speed of excavation impact your ability to manage the risk of damage to underground assets? Matt?
Well, the key to that is going to be on the design side to identify who all your stakeholders are. And that's going to be not only utility owners, but we also have some parcel owners that have private facilities as well. Above and beyond doing a SUE investigation for every one of them, level A, if you can get the documentation from each facility owner, that's going to be the key, because you don't know what you don't know. If you don't know it's in the ground, you don't know to pass that on to the contractor to let them know these facilities actually exist.
Thank you. Matt, what's your thoughts about the risk assessment, Jeff? Yeah.
Could you repeat that, please?
So when as grading becomes more automated and faster, how does the automation and increased speed of excavation impact your ability to manage the risk of damage to underground facilities?
Well, absolutely. It gives our operators real-time data on control, whether it's cut fill, project features, walls, the whole gamut. We are able to, again, eliminate what we'll call conventional survey methodology, and all of our people are out there working in real time. We've got our pipe laying crew, we've got our wall crews, and they are all using this GPS technology that tells them where the right-of-way is, where easements are, storm drain elevations, the whole gamut. So again, they're working in real time. It has transitioned an equipment operator into an operator/surveyor. And in turn, we're able to take and compile that information and are willing to provide it to utility owners and or their subcontractors that are relocating their facilities to accommodate the project, so they will know when they're out there doing their installs where to put it, the depth, so they're not putting it back in conflict with the project, which is counterproductive and leads to damages, delays, escalations, and impacts overall project delivery.
Thanks, Jeff, for the great analysis. Let me look at another point of view, the return of investment. Could you share a specific example where automated grade control saved a project from significant rework or a major schedule delay? Joey?
Yeah, we've, as far as project specific, we've had, instead of naming a particular project, something we've done, we've worked with some utility contractors before, and we sent them over a TP3 file and on certain projects, and they're able to incorporate it into their model. With that, we've had relocation projects that just went seamlessly, no errors throughout the entire 3-4 mile run on some of these roadways. worked out very well. And then you take another project about the same size. They didn't have that GPS model, and we had, and it's the same contractor at the same time, on a different project, and we had issues where they had the wrong depth of the wall that was coming through, or they intersected a storm drain pipe or a future storm drain pipe. We had many issues like this, so certainly giving them the TP3 was a lot more efficient way, and it reduced any future conflicts as well, and damages on our part.
Thanks, Joey. What about Jeff? You have several projects.
I agree with Joey wholeheartedly in general terms. You had asked for a specific example. We have a project on 285 at I-20. It's Boulder Crest Road reconstruction, and there are 16 utility owners out there. There's significant utility high-profile infrastructure with very limited right-of-way. AGL had a high-pressure steel gas main that ran all the way along Boulder Crest throughout the project limits, crossed under 85. The proposed relocation design put them, again, going under 285, crossing a number of wall alignments and storm drain. So we met with them and their contractor. We provided them the TP3 file, met with them in the field, checked all the control points. They install that facility from one end of the project to another, again, with a massive number of utilities, a massive number of project features. It's what I would call threading the needle, and that include all services. And as of today's date, we have not had one issue with that high-profile, newly installed gas facility, including services, given the significant work scope, et cetera. So that is one of the many successes we've had where the utility owners and or their subcontractors have used our survey control file for their installation of their facilities.
Thanks, Jeff and Joey, for the detailed explanation. So let me move to data as the foundation, because it's everywhere. So the data, it's going for Josh because he's young and he's dealing with the latest technology. We hear that mission is only as good as its model. How do you ensure the digital twin or 3D model used in the field matches the engineer's intent?
So it goes back to kind of what we were discussing earlier with, GDOT providing more information, designer intended 3D models. That's always been, the biggest issue, kind of the examples that I had previously where there's a lot of information missed where, radiuses particularly, where you have intersections of roads. You've got a cross slope like this, but you got the side road coming in at a different cross slope. So we try to match everything that we can as much as possible. We're laying the plans in Trimble Business Center, Trimble's sponsor out here. We're overlaying the plans in there. We're trying to intend that, the center line's where it's supposed to be, the EP's where it's supposed to be, the daylight's tying into where it's supposed to be, and that kind of ties back into our drone usage, where we're flying the projects to make sure that the existing ground is where it's supposed to be, so we're not going outside of the right of way to, tie in a ditch. So ultimately, our kind of project controls to ensure that everything is being done correctly is really, it's as old school as it gets. Is once we've got our model done, we're checking back to the cross sections, making sure that those are matching, and then, if there's any adjustments that we have to make, we've kind of got a level of certainty of what we feel like is acceptable for us to make adjustments to make something work, or if we need to send it off to GDOT to kind of get more clarification on, and then trying to make sure that everything else is also going to work. Working with Joey and trying to make sure that we're not going to have any utility conflicts. Our signals aren't down in a hole. The designer didn't realize that there's a 15-foot hole, so we're going to have to do a 50-foot pole for a signal. So trying to coordinate and make sure that we're making it as easy as easy as possible for everybody out there. And ultimately, you kind of have to go a little bit old school just to check back on the plans. But
thanks, Josh. Let me ask you one quick question to Derrick. He has all his life was in construction. What is the project you are proud of and why? Yeah, what is a single project you are really proud of and why?
You mean for my whole career?
Yeah.
Wow. gonna have to say probably the Broad Avenue Bridge project that we talked about. Van, is he still, there he is. Van was a part of that one too. That was the first project we had in our district where we had contractor, where the utilities were part of the contract. So that was really, I'm gonna say fun because it wasn't fun at all. That was interesting to say the least. There's a lot of issues on that project. It was full oversight, so Federal Highway was completely involved in it. Utilities we had, I think, a 10-inch gas line, 8-inch gas line, a 10-inch water line we had to relocate that was on the bridge that we had to bore underneath the Flint River. So it had its problems. It was extremely environmentally sensitive out there. We had some highly endangered, I guess, mussels that were in the river that we could not even walk in the river, let alone drop anything in the river. But all in all, it was a really neat project to build. It was a cantilever balance box beam bridge. If anybody knows what that is, basically we build out and it was cast in place. So as you build one side, you got to build the other side. It's whatever. But it was really interesting to watch it come together. And of course we had all kind of issues and of course as you have issues, you kind of learn what not to do and what to do. So that's kind of where we were on that. But from the utility side, it was really interesting to bore a gas line, a steel line, to make it come up out of a bottom. So I mean, it was interesting. I don't know how we did it, but it's there. So that's probably the most interesting project I've had.
Thanks, Derrick. And next question goes to Matt. He was in with the public sector and private sector. What skill has given you the biggest career advantage? You want to share with the audience?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What skill has given you the biggest career advantage in your professional career?
The best? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not understanding the question.
What skill has given you the greatest advantage in your personal career, professional career? The skill.
Just perspective, I guess. The advantage is when you can think like your contractors, you understand more of where they're coming from, because being in the public sector, and I hope nobody's got any bananas or fruit in here, but sometimes we get tunnel vision and we look at projects in a certain way, and constructability is definitely a key part of what we need to do. And since these guys do that portion of it day by day, just staying open to problems, issues, and things that they bring up, because they do bring up valid concerns, and they're not always trying to get a change order. Sometimes they are. But you need to be open to looking at differences in the installation methods and everything especially.
Thanks, Matt, for the beautiful, great analysis. My last question is for the most experienced person, Jeff. What is the one single advice from your years of experience you would give to the audience?
Could you repeat that, please, Shajan? I apologize.
What is the one single advice from your years of experience you would like to share with the audience?
I would just say anything and everything that you do, and in my career, 20 years with GDOT, all through my collegiate career at Southern Poly, and 18 years with C.W. Matthews, team. Everything that I have done in my career revolves around people, groups, teams, getting things done, depending on each other, supporting each other, et cetera, to ultimately deliver, whether it's a product, project, or otherwise.
Thanks, Jeff. Now we have got, the time is running out, so I have to finish it up within the time frame. Now we have got some question and answers. Justin, are we passing the microphone? Anybody can? So I just want to let you know that we have very time limited. We will try to answer the maximum number of questions. But great news. Jeff, Joey, Josh, Derrick, and Matt are available after this session. And you can talk to him personally, and they will be able to share their words and wisdom. From the audience, we have any questions? Go ahead.
This is Abdul from Wilkerson Country Public Works. I have all the way people contact us. They are doing excellent job. However, we have water alcohols and mangrove when they do especially the resurfacing the project. We find out sometimes it is so it is paid over. Sometimes it is happen. How we can improve this kind of
Testing.
for CW Matthews and also yes and also everyone.
Your voice is intimidating, but we all want to hear you.
This is Abul from Fulton County. I am repeating again. This is, we are so much happy all you're doing, the CW Matthews and Arsenal, everyone. Only one question we arise sometimes, when you do the resurfacing project, our sewer manhole and some water valve box was repaving top of this. How we can eliminate this problem? Because mostly resurfacing program is doing at the night time. We cannot go over there and see, review, but how we can improve this on. Sometimes our maintenance division people go at the field, they didn't find out our valve box or manhole also. How we can improve this?
The two simple responses that I would give would be to GPS all your facilities, so when the work is done, you'll know exactly where they are. You can go adjust them to finish grade and or adjust them to finish grade if there's not a significant differential prior to the work being done, and we'll work around you and respect your facilities.
Yeah, same thing as Jeff is saying, and sometimes we'll work with municipalities if you know we're going through an area where you're going to have covered where your valve boxes or manholes may be covered. Bring us some rings and maybe some risers, and we'll try to put them on as we're going through. But we always try to work with whatever the utilities are. Whatever the needs are, and like I said, every utility company's got a different approach to it. But like Jeff's saying, just if you don't reach out to us beforehand, make sure you've got GPS coordinates on every manhole and every valve, because coming back to find them would be a much much more challenging situation.
So before project, did you take the picture, pre-condition and post-condition? Did you compare sometimes with the picture?
On resurfacing projects, I don't know how often we go out there and shoot it. I don't think we take too many pre-existing photos. Now, the project owner does quite a few times.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff and Joey.
I have a question. You all mentioned TP3 files up there, and I guess that's some kind of TopCon file or something for surveying. But GDOT produces open road files, and would it be better for those open road files to be TP3 type files instead of open road files? And could you explain how that transition works?
Yeah, so and that was a big part of our discussion with our GDOT workshop on the 3D model. And so the TP3 file is a TopCon specific, it's a project file. So it's got the components of your lines, your points, your alignments, and your surfaces. So the conversations that we had, and this is what I typically try to do with a lot of the utility contractors that we work with when they are requesting information is, one, understand what equipment they're using, right? But generally speaking, for the most part, most Trimble and TopCon specific, because that's the two major ones we utilize, typically a DWG, a CAD file, DWG, DXF file for lines generally work for pretty much every platform. XML formats generally work well with alignments and surfaces. And then CSV files always work for pretty much everything. So it's a combination of different file types that ultimately build, say for TopCon, a TP3 file, and for Trimble, I can't remember their exact file type, but it's a combination of different files that actually build the full project.
You mentioned DWG. I think GDOT uses DGN microstation type files. Would it be better for them to use Autodesk DWG files instead of microstation? And are y'all aligned with the same
So for us
format.
specifically, Trimble Business Center does take in DGN files, so we don't have an issue. It goes back to the conversation that we had with our workshop, was to make everything as fair to everybody as possible. Just knowing some contractors may not be operating on Trimble Business Center. They may be operating on something that doesn't take DGN. So I believe Open Roads does export out CAD files, if I'm not mistaken. But to go back to the question, we are capable of taking in DGN files and then doing what we need to it and exporting out whatever file type we need at that point. But that was part of that conversation, was to try and make everything as fair to everybody as possible, whether your ER Snell CW size, where you've got anything and everything that you possibly need and utilize, or if you're down to a smaller contractor that may not even be doing a GPS model and they may be subbing it out. So that was kind of that conversation, where trying to make the file types as basic and generic and user-friendly across all platforms.
Is there a goal to get all the contractors on the same page with their 3D models, not just TP3, but like you said, just a generic 3D type file that works for everybody?
So not on the contractor side, on the designer side, and that goes back to the different file types that we requested that they utilize, whether it's line work or alignments or surfaces. So that is, from my understanding, which we'll see come this letting, how that information is going to get transmitted. But that's how it was supposed to come through, was that generic file type amongst the different types of information, so that everybody could basically, we use TopCon for a lot of our machine control and our surveyors. We use a good bit of Trimble as well. I know our EIC project uses Leica, so that goes back to make it as generic and user-friendly for all the different platforms, and that's presumably how it's coming through.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everyone. There is a proverb called "build better together." So I was thinking about an old story. Some of you heard about the Newton's story. Isaac Newton was well known that he's a very famous, well-known, lot of brain. He did a lot of work for the human generations. He has got two cats, a mother cat and a small baby cat. So what happened is that while he was thinking in the late night hours, the cat comes and scratches the door, and he's losing his concentration. So he told a carpenter, can you make 2 holes on my door, and the cats can come in and inside whenever they wants to go outside. So I won't get bothered. So the carpenter, at the end of the day, he made 1 hole and he left. The next day, Newton was so angry and said, I said, I told you to make 2 holes. Why did you make only 1 hole? And he said, 1 hole is enough. And he said, I am the biggest scientist in the world. I am the biggest brain in the world. And you're telling me what to do, how to do the job. What about the small cat? The small cat come through the bigger hole. So basically what I'm thinking is that even the carpenter, like engineers, we may be thinking better way, or maybe in an angle from 2 dimension to the 3 dimension. Newton was thinking only maybe in a 2 dimension. That means I needed 2 cats, 2 holes. But the carpenter was thinking in a 3 dimension, the smaller cat can go the same hole where the bigger cats can go. So whatever we are thinking today, it may be we have to go forward and we have to accept the changes. Let me conclude this discussion with on behalf of everyone who present here, I express my sincere thanks and appreciation to each one of you, Joey, Jeff, Derrick, Matt, and Josh, for your time, wisdom, and your knowledge you sharing with us. It's a great panel discussion. It's going to be a great effort from your side to be here, taking your time from your busy schedule. I know that each one of you come from driving up here, your 1 day is gone, but it enhances all the people in the audience. That's a lot of knowledge. Let me conclude my thing, like John F. Kennedy said, change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past and present are certain to miss the future. So we don't want to miss the future. We have to accept the change as it progresses. Thank you everyone for your time, and thanks for the panel members also.